Okay, and for our next guest, we have Ryosuke Shibato from Academist Inc. And Ryosuke will be discussing decentralizing research towards open academia and about 10 years of academist and beyond in English.
Um, First of all, thank you for giving me to sharing vision, open academia. So I'm Ryosuke Shibato, CEO of Academist, and today I have been introduced our vision and service 20 minutes. Okay. So do you know Academist? Academist, oh, thank you. Okay. So let's search Academist on your browser and find your favorite project. Yes, there are a lot of researchers in Academist, so yeah, please check. Hi. Yes. Okay, today I'd like to talk about why we need open academia, which is our vision. And after that, 10 years of Academist, and finally, a decentralized research institute. This is our milestone to realize our vision. Okay, when I was a PhD student about 15 years ago, I majored in theoretical physics, though I like research, but I also felt a sense of discomfort. So we have almost no chance to know what the lab next door was doing. So I thought something was wrong. So now that I think about it, this was a culture that I now call closed academia. In a graduate program, I have a chance to visit Silicon Valley. I met a lot of PhD students, and they are building connections with diverse stakeholders based on their research. And being inspired, I came back to Japan and I started organizing interdisciplinary meetups where graduate students from different fields come together. I realized that it is difficult to understand the research details, of course, but I can understand the research vision. It is very interesting and my find. So if we create a site where research visions are gathered, research will be able to connect with diverse stakeholders. So I studied academist. Yeah. So the original plan was to run a media platform where researchers could present the appeal of their research. However, it did not meet the needs of researchers at all because they are very busy. Yeah, so gradually we come across crowdfunding as a good means to provide researchers with incentive and returns for their outreach, while enabling a wide audience to know and support researchers. At that time, crowdfunding for research was not considered the funding option. But we kept going, and this year we reached the 10th anniversary of our service. Okay, so our vision is realize open academia. So what is open academia? I'd like to characterize the current state of academia as largely a closed academia. In closed academia, research is mainly funded by public money, which leads to the distance between supporters, namely taxpayers and researchers. And researchers' tendency to appeal their research vision and primarily to government founders. And finally, and main recipients of the research output being limited to peer researchers. In our view, such a closed culture of academia has led to many problems. Researchers lack the freedom of pursue their own interests, and society misses the opportunity to fully appreciate the value of research. On the other hand, open academia relies on diverse sources of funding, and that enables various means through which people and researchers interact. And researchers sharing their vision with the public, and the outcome of the research being shared with broad stakeholders. This is a kind of academia we should build in the next era. And if we look back on the history of academia, we can see an alternation between closed and open mode. In 16th through 18th century, a new technology called printing press helped open up academia by liberating knowledge from closed universities. we believe that same thing should happen in the 21st century, driven by the information technology. So with that vision, what we have done in the past 10 years. Currently, our activities consist of three main pillars: academic crowdfunding, and academic fan club, and the grant. I will briefly explain first the two. Okay, we started academic crowdfunding in 2014. This was the time when crowdfunding in general was becoming popular. For example, Kickstarter and Indiegogo in the US start around 2008 to 9. And in Japan, Ready4 and Campfire began their services around 2011-12. So Academist was the first platform dedicated to the academia in Japan. So we choose the all or nothing model, where you set a target amount and only receive the funds if you reach the target. Because we believe committing to the target is an important part of the process. So let me show some example. First is the Thunder Cloud research project by astrophysicists to understand the mechanism of how lightning forms by observing gamma rays emitted from a thunder cloud. This was such a novel approach that they could not receive public funding, that's kakenhi in Japanese, granting aid for scientific research in Japan. So they tried crowdfunding and were able to begin their project. And with their initial success, they later received public funding. So crowdfunding means 0 to 1, public funding 1 to 10 or 100. So this is a model case of crowdfunding leading to a significant scientific impact. So next was interdisciplinary project that used game theory and machine learning to analyze the game of soccer in a novel way. A project like this is appealing to supporters because the impact is easy to imagine to supporters. Okay, so here is a comparison between public funding and crowdfunding. And I won't go over all of them. But the important point is that it's not either or a choice between crowdfunding and public funds, like kakenhi. So the largest difference is that in crowdfunding, we can create a route where researchers and supporters communicate directly. This non-monetary aspect of crowdfunding is critical in realizing open academia, we think. And in crowdfunding, such communication tends to be one shot. However, we realize that supporters want to be continuously updated on the progress of the project. To make the relationship longer, we started a fan club system. So in the fan club, supporters contribute a few hundred yen or a few dollars a month. So the researchers in turn report. So their report can be about their daily activities rather than about the research progress. This way, supporters get to know deeper about the researcher as a person. Since fan club support is small in terms of the amount of money, we came up with a scheme where fan club is paired with a prize format program. The prize is supported by the industry partners. In this prize, we implemented a quadratic voting-like mechanism. As some of you may be familiar, it involves gathering a matching pool from companies and distributing funds based on the number of supporters, rather than the total amount of support. Okay, so what have we accomplished? We launched over 300 projects, partnered with researchers from 189 universities who earned 27,000 supporters, with total pledged money amounting to 3.1 million yen. So crowdfunding culture is clearly taking root, and we proved that linear growth is possible. And if you look at the impact after crowdfunding, 34 researchers have acquired approximately 270 million yen from other funding sources. This means academists worked as an initiator of a project. That's the 0 to 1, so that later acquires larger funds. And also, it is worth noting that crowdfunding enables collaboration with diverse stakeholders. Two-thirds of researchers collaborated with non-researchers stakeholders, such as companies, media, educational sectors, and so on. So in the past 10 years, we have learned that crowdfunding is more about connecting researchers with people than about connecting money with projects. Another thing we learned is the importance of research relations. Research relations, or RELAR, is a skilled person who help researchers brush up their visions and help find supporters or funds. By supporting hundreds of projects, academist team has come to excel at this RELAR function. And yeah, this is our vision, one of the vision, decentralized research institute. And crowdfunding was a way to decentralize research funding. The current model typically matches one or a few researchers with citizen supporters. However, research is inherently a team effort. The next step is to realize an autonomous and decentralized formation of research teams, supporters, and research relations themselves. This is our concept of decentralized research institute. I'd like to roughly define the decentralized research institute as having diverse funding sources where public funding is not the majority, and consisting of not so large teams, up to about 50 people, being open to collaboration with other institutes. The third aspect is critical for our vision. So here is a rough sketch of what decentralized research institute looks like. There are researchers and supporters gathered from the public, and and each specialist. And in it, real staff plays a key role in binding the project. Yes. In the later case, various impacts enable further expansion of the institute. So in the future, we need to build what is the most critical impact. So now we define academic impact, economic impact, and media impact. So we rearrange what impact is more better to sustainable model. So how do we make this happen? So as a milestone toward our vision, we are launching the 1,000 True Funds project in the fourth phase of the academist flights. And 7 young researchers were newly selected for these initiatives. So team academists and these researchers will work together with a large number of funds that will support the project sustainably. So through this initiative, academist aims to boost its capability as a relay. So developing the crucial skills of identifying promising research and determining researcher compatibility. So this project, we believe, is the first step toward envisioning an open academia where decentralized research institutes flourish. We wish to lead this movement. Okay, to summarize, we believe that the default mode of 21st century academia must be open academia. So crowdfunding is more about connecting researchers with people than about connecting money with projects. Research relations relay is critical yet, but undervalued function. Decentralized research institutes as the next direction toward open academia. Okay, finally, we have a lot of collaborators and core member and plus 400 researchers. Our team, shareholder, a lot of shareholder, about 15 shareholders and crowdfunding partners. There are a lot of universities and private supporters like this. So we want to expand our team more larger in the future. So if you are interested in our service, so please contact me. So especially you have any ideas to materialize decentralized research institute. and are interested in supporting us if financially and want to join us as academist team member as a real rare. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Okay, so we have about 5 minutes for questions if anybody has any questions to ask. Anybody? Okay.
Thank you very much for the excellent talk. I'm curious that the kind of the benefit of using like crowdfunding, your point of view as a kind of this crowdfunding system, because so you already have like bunch of the system that everybody already can supporting the scientific project, and what's the kind of additional value of using crowdfunding in your perspective? Would you explain that if you have?
Okay, you mean supporters merit, research merit to use crowdfunding?
No, what I mean is like either value. Like if you have additional values using this crowdfunding in terms of.
Okay, yeah, thank you. If you are researchers, maybe you think that, okay, I need money, 100 yen I need, but I choose crowdfunding or a public fund or a company's fund, maybe more option. So by using crowdfunding, you can connect a lot of stakeholders. This is the most important point by using crowdfunding. So for example, before crowdfunding, we don't know who connect you, but after crowdfunding, maybe you can give a lot of message from stakeholders. For example, researchers are interested in some bags, and some bags, maybe researchers, I like these bags, but nobody like these bags. But some company may be interested in the bags, and some foundation may be interested in these bags. So innovation will happen by using crowdfunding. So I think this increase probability is important to using crowdfunding. So ちょっと日本語ですみません言いますと、クラウドティック。すみません、はい。Okay, okay. I think it's answer is similar answer. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we have about 2 minutes left if there's any more questions. Okay.
Shibato-san, thank you very much for your 10 years efforts on this field. I'm very curious on the core value of the academist. Maybe it's relating to the science relation, research relations capabilities in your company. And could you please explain about what kind of characters or capabilities necessary for the science research relations?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and we are now considering the definition of real rares. Yeah, so, but first of all, I think it's important to know the academic situation. So I think a PhD holder, it is easy to adjust the real rare. Yeah, so academia to business side is very good for real. But on the other hand, it's a little bit difficult to business side to academia. Because to learn the academic culture, I think it's like not so easy. Yeah, because a very complicated environment in academia. Yeah, so I think, for example, PhD holder is very good to adjust the real rare function. But we need to define real rare more in the future.
You mean that the understanding of the culture of academia is very key to be a researcher relations But what kind of, not only understanding, but what kind of adding value or capabilities is necessary as a research relations in your company?
Yeah, I think to know both academic and industry and make a story connect each other.
Making a story.
Yeah, yeah. So I think maybe we don't make manual. Yeah, so we approach one by one. Yeah, and academic, each industry, we make a story and appeal the researcher to the industry and make some new value. Yeah,
Now understood. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, everybody, can we get a round of applause for Ryosuke Shibato? Thank you so much.